Hello students, welcome to Anne's classes. Let's do factorization, exercise 5b. Exercise 5b, question 2, 1 minus 2a minus 3a square. So 1 is the constant, negative 2 is the coefficient of a, and negative 3 is the coefficient of a square. So we have identified the coefficients in this expression. What is the first step? Now we are going to factor the expression. That is, we need to find two numbers that will multiply to give us negative 3 and add up to give us negative 2. Now, how did we get this negative 3 here? Why should we multiply to give us negative 3? Now, look at the first term and the coefficient of the last term. 1 into negative 3 is negative 3. So, that's how we got this negative 3. So, when we multiply two numbers, it should give us negative 3. And when we add, it should give us the coefficient of the middle term, that is negative 2. What are the two numbers? The two numbers are negative 3 and 1. Let's try with that and see. So if we take negative 3, multiply it by 1, negative 3 into 1 is negative 3. Let's add it up and see. Negative 3 plus 1 will give us negative 2. So that means these are the numbers, negative 3 and 1, because when we multiplied, we got negative 3. When we added, we got negative 2. Now we can split the middle term. So instead of writing negative 2a, we can write negative 3a plus 1a. So let's write that. So this is 1 negative 3a plus 1a, or simply a, and the last term negative 3a square. Now let's put them into groups. The first two terms into the first group, next two terms into the next group. Now the next thing to do is factor this, and we have to pick out the common factor. So here 1 minus 3a, the only thing that can be common, we can write it as 1 because the remaining will remain as it is inside the brackets. Now here what is common? Here we have a and we have negative 3a square. So as you can see, a is common. So we can bring out the a and put the remaining within brackets. A into 1 is a into negative 3a will give us 3a square. So we have this. Now let's write out the final factored form. What is within brackets is 1 minus 3a, and what is outside the brackets is 1 plus a. So this is our final answer. 1 minus 3a and 1 plus a. Question 3. 24a cube plus 37a square minus 5a. So in this operation, as you can see, the terms are arranged in descending order of powers. It can be in descending order of powers or ascending order of powers. Only if it is mixed up, you need to rearrange. Now here we can leave it as it is. So now the first step is factor the greatest common factor. Now if you look carefully, the numbers 24, 37 and 5 don't have a common factor. So let's look at the variable. Every term here contains the variable a. So now let's factor out a. So we're going to take out a and put the remaining in brackets. So we take out a. Now in the first one, we have 24a cube. As you can see, we have 24a cube. I've taken out 1a, so it becomes 24a square. So let's write that. So this is 24a square plus, in the next one, we have 37a square. We already have 1a out. So that will simply be 37a minus, here we have 5a, we have a out, so we just have to write minus 5. So we have taken a out and we have the remaining within parentheses. Now the next step is we factor the expression inside the parentheses. So inside this, whatever we have, we're going to find the factors for this. So for that, we need to find two numbers that multiply to give us minus 120 and add up to give us 37. Now, how did we get this? So here we multiply the first term and the last term, 24 into 5. 24 into 5, 24 into 5 is equal to 120. And since we have a negative 5 here, this will be negative 120. So that's how we got negative 120 here. So we need to get two numbers that will multiply to give us negative 120 and add to give us 37. Now we have to work out with different numbers and try and get that pair of numbers which will give us what we need here. Now when you try out in different ways, you will find out that those numbers are 40 and negative 3. Let's see if that works. So we are going to take 40 and multiply it by negative 3. What do we get? We get negative 120. Let's add up these two numbers and see. 40 plus negative 3, what do we get? Now here 40 plus negative 3, the sign will be plus. 40 minus 3 is 37. So as you can see, when we multiplied 40 and negative 3, we got negative 120. When we added 40 and negative 3, we got 37. So these two numbers are correct, 40 and negative 3. Now what is the next step? Next step is we're going to split the middle term. We're going to change 37a to 40 and negative 3. So let's rewrite that. So this is going to be a, don't forget to put the a, and inside brackets 24a square. Now plus 37a will now become plus 40a minus 3a. And the last term negative 5. So now we have split the middle term. In the next step, we are going to factor what is inside the parenthesis by the grouping method. So in the grouping method, what do? We group the first two terms. So this makes the first group and this will make the second group. So we continue. So we leave this A as it is, remember. So this will remain as it is. Now let's look at the first group inside the brackets. So we have 24a square plus 40a. What is common here? So if you look at the numbers 24 and 40, which is the greatest common factor. Now this is divisible by 2, it's divisible by 4, but we have to look for the greatest common factor, and that is 8. Okay, so 8 3s are 24, 8 5s are 40, so we can take 8 out here and put the remaining within brackets. As you can see, a is also common, so we take a also out. So now here we have 8a into what will give us 24a square. 8 3s are 24 and the a as it is, plus 8a into what will give us 40a. 8a into 5. 8 5s are 40 and we have the a. Similarly, here we have negative 3a and negative 5. As you can see, nothing is common. When nothing is common and you still need to get a factor, you use 1, because when you multiply 1 into this, you will get back the same thing. But here you have a negative sign. So remember to write this as negative 1 and we'll put the remaining within brackets in such a way that we should get back this. So negative 1 into what will give us negative 3a. It should be 3a, isn't it? Negative 1 into 3a will give us negative 3a. Negative 1 now into what will give us negative 5? Negative 1 into plus 5. So here we write plus 5. And we close the brackets. Now from what is inside the brackets, we are going to pick out the common binomials here. So here this will remain as it is. And inside, what do we have? 3a plus 5 is common, so we can write that 3a plus 5 is common, and the other common factor will be 8a minus 1. So this will be our final answer. Question 4. 3 minus a into 4 plus 7a. So first part, we're going to expand this expression. So how do we expand that? We're going to multiply minus a by each term inside the parenthesis. So let's do that. So we are having here 3 minus a into 4 is 4a, minus a into 7a is minus 7a squared. Now we're going to factor this expression. We need to find two numbers that will multiply to give us 3 7s are 21. It should multiply to give us minus 21 and it should add to give us minus 4. Okay, so we need to get two numbers. That is, two numbers that will multiply to give us minus 21 and add to give us minus 4. So you have to try on different combinations of numbers. Now the two numbers are minus 7 and 3. Let's work this out and see. So if we have minus 7 and 3, minus 7 into 3, what do we get? Minus 21. Let's add it up and see. Minus 7 plus 3 will give us minus 4. So these are the two numbers, isn't it? Minus 7 and 3, because when you multiply it, you got minus 21. When you add it, you got minus 4. So let's do the next step, that is splitting the middle term. So in our next step, we write 3. Instead of minus 4a, we're going to write minus 7a plus 3a, because we have split minus 4a into this. And what is left is minus 7a square. Now the next step is factor by grouping. Put them into groups. The first two terms make the first group. So let's do that. So this is the first group. This is the second group. Now look at the first group and see what is common. 3 minus 7a, there's nothing common. So when there's nothing common, we write 1. So 1, and inside we write the same thing, 3 minus 7a. Now let's look at the second group. In the second group, we have 3a minus 7a square. What is common is only a. Only a is common, so we'll write that as it is. So plus a, and in brackets we have 3, because a into 3 is 3a, and minus 7a square, so minus 7a. So here what do we have? 1 plus a and 3 minus 7a, that's common. So let's write out our answers here. So we have 3 minus 7a as the first factor, and we also have 1 plus a. So this is our final answer here. 3 minus 7a and 1 plus a. Question 5. 2a plus b the whole square minus 6a minus 3b minus 4. Now here we have 2a plus b, this binomial. Let's see if we can look for another similar common binomial pattern here by looking at only the last three terms of this expression. So let's look at only this, that is minus 6a minus 3b minus 4. So now here what we can do is we can look at the first two terms here, and we can factor out the common factor, which is minus 3, from the first two terms. So let's do that. So minus 3 is common, and what goes inside? Minus 3 into 2, isn't it? It will give us 6a minus 1b, or simply b, minus 4. So now can you see here we have minus 3 into 2a will give us minus 6a, minus 3 into plus b will only give us minus 3b. So this is plus b. So this becomes plus. So can you see here we have 2a plus b, and here also we managed to get 2a plus b. So now I'm going to rewrite this into this expression here. So let's rewrite that. So the first term remains as it is, that is 2a plus b the whole square, and instead of the second part of the expression, that is instead of minus 6a minus 3b minus 4, I'm going to write this. So let's write that. So we have minus 3 into 2a plus b minus 4. Now let's look at this 2a plus b here. Here also we have 2a plus b. So let 2a plus b be equal to x. Let's take it as x. Now we're going to use this in this expression. We're going to substitute 2a plus b with x in this expression. So first we have 2a plus b the whole square. We're going to write x square minus 3. 2a plus b is simply x there, minus 4. So I hope you understood how we got this. X square. X stands for 2a plus b and minus 3x minus 4. Now we're going to factor this expression. That means we need to find two numbers that will multiply to give us minus 4 and that will add to give us minus 3. Remember, two numbers that will multiply to give us minus 4 and two numbers that will add up to give us minus 3. So you need to work out with a few numbers. Now the two numbers here are minus 4 and 1. Let's work that out and see. So if we have minus 4 and we multiply it by 1, what do we get? Minus 4. Now let's add and see. So minus 4 plus 1 is equal to minus 3. So that means the two numbers are minus 4 and 1, because when you multiply you get minus 4, when you add you get minus 3. So the numbers are minus 4 and 1. Now let's split the middle term. So this will be x square. In place of minus 3x we're going to write minus 4x plus 1x, or simply x minus 4. Now we're going to factor by grouping. So the first two terms become the first group and the next two terms become the next group. So from the first two terms here, from the first group, the common factor is x. So we can take that out. So that is x into, in brackets, we have one more x minus 4. And here we have x minus 4. We don't have anything in common. So remember, when we don't have anything in common, we just write 1. So plus 1 into x minus 4. So now let's get our common terms. So the first one within brackets is x minus 4 and the other one is x plus 1. So now what we're going to do is we're going to resubstitute the value of x. Remember here we got x minus 4, x plus 1, and earlier we said x is equal to 2a plus b. Remember, x is equal to 2a plus b. So wherever we have x, we're going to write 2a plus b. So here, instead of x, we're going to write 2a plus b. And what is left is minus 4. This is our first factor. And in the second one also, in place of x, we are going to write 2a plus b. 2a plus b and plus 1. So we've got our answers. 2a plus b minus 4 and 2a plus b plus 1. Question 6. 1 minus 2a minus 2b minus 3 into a plus b the whole square. This is similar to the previous sum. So here we have a binomial a plus b. Can we get a similar binomial here? Let's look at these two terms to see if we can get a similar binomial. So this will be 1. And now let's look at these two and see what is common. Minus 2a minus 2b minus 2 is common. So let's take that out, minus 2, and put the remaining within brackets. Minus 2 into a will give us minus 2a, and here if I write plus b, we will get minus 2b if we multiply with minus 2. So as you can see, I've got a plus b here and we also have a plus b here. So let's write the remaining here. So this is minus 3 into a plus b the whole square. Now in the place of a plus b, I am going to write x. I'm going to substitute a plus b by x to make our working easier. So wherever I have a plus b, I'm going to write x. So let's do that. So this is going to be 1 minus 2 into a plus b is 2x, because x is a plus b, minus 3 into a plus b square, that is x square. So now I have 1 minus 2x minus 3x square. Now I can factor my expression. I need to look for two numbers. Now what are the two numbers? Now 1 into 3, negative 3. 1 into minus 3 is minus 3. So I need to find two numbers that will multiply to give me minus 3 and two numbers that will add to give me minus 2. So again, you need to think of number combinations which will multiply to give minus 3 and add to give minus 2. So the numbers are minus 3 and 1. Minus 3 and 1. So let's work out with this and see. So minus 3 into 1 will give us minus 3. Let's add it up. Minus 3 plus 1 is equal to minus 2. So that means the numbers are minus 3 and 1, because when we multiplied we got minus 3. When we added we got minus 2. So now we're going to split the middle term. The steps are all the same like the previous ones. Let's split the middle term. So first one remains as it is. The middle term will now be written as minus 3x plus 1x or plus x minus 3x squared. Now we're going to do grouping. So here we group the first two terms and the next two terms. Now if you look at the first two terms, there's nothing that's common. So we write 1. So this is 1 into 1 minus 3x, because we can get back the same when we multiply with 1. Now let's look at this. X minus 3x squared. Here x is common, so we're going to take x out. So that is plus x, and in brackets we have 1 minus 3x. Now let's take out our factors. So the first one is 1 minus 3x, which is common, and we have 1 plus x. Now we are going back to this part here where we said a plus b is equal to x. So this time we're going to resubstitute. Wherever we have x, we are going to write a plus b. So let's do that. So here we have 1 minus 3 into x, and x is a plus b. So that's why we have the box brackets there, the square brackets, a plus b, and then we close brackets here. I hope you understood why we put the square brackets here. That's because here we have written 1 as it is, and here we wrote minus, and here 3x. That means x is a plus b. We have to multiply a plus b with 3. That's why the whole thing is put in brackets like this. Now here let's write the remaining as it is. So that will be 1 plus x, and x is a plus b. Now we're going to simplify this part. So that will be 1 minus 3 into a is 3a, minus 3 into b is minus 3b. So this is the first one. Second one is as it is, 1 plus a plus b. So this is our final answer. So we will stop with this for now, children. In our next video, we will continue with the remaining questions. Thank you, children.